Welcome to This Explainer. A modern smart home can actually process tens of thousands of individual data points in a single day. That is a massive amount of information. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating that's happening right inside our own living rooms. We're looking at the architecture of predictive smart homes, and specifically how these environments are literally anticipating our needs. It's a real game changer in how we interact with the spaces around us. We're going to uncover the invisible engineering behind the whole shebang, those complex systems working quietly in the background to make your home feel like it's straight up reading your mind. So let's dive right in.
Okay, Section 1, the Magic Smart Home. I want you to pause for a second. Think about a feeling that's becoming pretty familiar to a lot of us. It's this quiet, almost mysterious moment. You step through your front door after a long day, and the environment just responds. It completely adapts to you without a single button press or voice command. Our source material captures this exact phenomenon perfectly. It asks, have you ever walked into a room only to realize your smart home already set the perfect mood before you even reached for the switch? I love that quote because it totally validates that sense of wonder we all get. We've all been there, right? Reaching for a switch only to find the lights are already dimming to our preferred level, or the temperature is perfectly adjusted. Think about it. How on earth does the house know you had a stressful Tuesday commute versus a relaxed Friday afternoon?
Well, we're going to shatter that illusion of magic right now, because there's actually a stark contrast between what we feel and what's really happening. What feels like magic is, in scientific reality, highly sophisticated behavioral mapping. So, no, it's not an illusion at all. It's incredibly advanced architecture. It's literally an intricate system continuously observing you, mapping your behaviors, and constantly computing the most likely outcome.
Which leads us to Section 2, Mapping Behavioral Psychology. This brings us right to the secret behind the illusion. To figure out how a system can anticipate a request before it even fully forms in your own mind, we have to look at the intersection of human behavior and predictive technology. We're moving way beyond smart devices just reacting to our commands. These devices are starting to understand our underlying psychology. To talk about this accurately, we need to define the core term for today's explainer: automated intuition. That's the transformation of raw sensor input into a seamless, preemptive action. Basically, it's the home's ability to act as your personal mind reader. It takes cold, hard data, like say your smartwatch tracking a sudden drop in your body temperature, and translates that into turning up the thermostat before you even realize you're shivering. It's not just basic automation anymore, it's intuition, artificially constructed.
So what exactly goes into building that artificial intuition? Well, it's a synthesis of 4 key pillars. First up, behavioral psychology. This means understanding the general patterns of how humans operate within a space. What environments make us feel relaxed versus alert. Second is predictive modeling. That's the mathematical framework calculating future actions based on current data. Third, we have biometric data. We're talking about things like your natural circadian rhythms or how your resting heart rate fluctuates throughout the day as you move from the home office to the living room. And finally, historical patterns. This is the system noticing that you boil the kettle for tea at exactly 7:15 a.m. every single weekday. The really cool part? The smart system doesn't just look at these things individually. It synthesizes your real-time biometric data and your historical patterns together to create incredibly accurate predictive models. It quite literally learns you.
Moving on to Section 3, Algorithmic Feedback Loops Explained.
Now, how does it process all of this information so fast? We really need to shift gears and talk about speed and processing power, because the actual mechanism relies heavily on algorithmic feedback loops. These loops are constantly running, processing, and refining themselves at lightning speed. It's an endless rapid-fire cycle of taking in data, evaluating it against the model, and making adjustments. This is the true engine room of automated intuition. Just imagine this happening in milliseconds. Step 1, the raw sensor detects you entering the kitchen. Step 2, instantly the system synthesizes that with your biometrics. Let's say your heart rate is elevated from a morning workout and checks your history. It knows that post-workout you definitely prefer cooler air. Step 3, boom, the preemptive automated action executes and the AC kicks on. A totally seamless life cycle from raw data to immediate action.
By deconstructing these feedback loops, we can see exactly how mere data becomes actionable intuition. It's absolutely crucial to understand that these algorithms aren't just blindly following static rules. They're constantly feeding the results of that final action right back to the beginning. If the preemptive action was a success, the model gets stronger. But if it was wrong, say you decided to sleep in and skip your 6 a.m. run, but the house blasts you with bright, energizing lights anyway, well, the model actually learns from your very annoyed manual override.
Deconstructing all this reveals something huge. Your home isn't just a container for your smart tech, it's an active learning system, dynamically adapting to your life through these very loops.
All right, Section 4, the invisible engineering unveiled.
What we've really done here today is pull back the curtain on this invisible engineering, and revealing this architecture fundamentally changes how we understand our relationship with our living spaces. We're no longer just occupants commanding a structure, we are active participants in a highly sophisticated, interactive data loop. Our homes are actively mapping the intersection of our behavioral psychology and their predictive modeling, just to serve us better. The ultimate transformation achieved by this predictive AI is that journey from raw sensor input to seamless intuition. It takes the absolute coldest, most clinical pieces of information, like a motion trigger or a body temperature read, and through the synthesis of historical patterns and behavioral mapping, it turns it into a warm, perfectly timed, intuitive human experience. It predicts your needs before you even think them.
Which leaves us with a massive, fascinating question to ponder. If our homes can map our behavioral psychology to predict our needs before we think them, what does that mean for the future of human intuition? Are we just outsourcing our own anticipation? It's an incredible piece of invisible engineering for sure, but it certainly leaves us with a lot to think about regarding